I am so pleased that this exhibition is happening, Black Money, because when you're in the black with money, it's a good thing. Isn't that right? If you're red or you're green or you're pink, nobody's talking. But if you're in the black, it's a good day. Even on Wall Street, it's a good day. And I'm so particularly pleased that there is this conversation about Black money, because oftentimes when we are on money, even money within countries that have independence and great nation states, oftentimes that currency is devalued. So it seems as though we are less and little. It's almost like sometimes looking at a map and you see your country and it's a tiny little dot, and you're in a classroom and you see other big countries and somehow you feel small and insignificant. So to be on money, Canadian currency with value, did I say that? With value, right? It's a great thing that we have Viola Desmond on that money. To be in this space also too, the Auburn Research Center is also very fitting for this exhibition to take place. And I'm not going to clean my shoes because today I want what was known as the former Black Wall Street. So we good to go, we good to go, we very good to go. In Toronto, I live in a great city called Toronto. And only one person is like, acknowledging that. And our connection too with the US is such. Dr. Smith alluded to several things. But one of the things too that I find significant with our connection to with the states, that oftentimes things are unrecognized. And she spoke about Rosemary Brown. And Rosemary Brown said, it is not important in life only to open a door, but to hold the door open for others to come through. And I'm hoping that this partnership that we have going with Canada and with the US, or with Atlanta and with Canada, is one where we don't simply open a door this evening, but we hold that door open so other discussions, other partnerships, other relationships can take place. I am very fortunate to be in a world of books and literature. And as a person who owns a bookstore, an independent bookstore, it is very important for us to look at the trajectory of independent bookstores. The bookstore that my husband and I own is called A Different Booklist, and it has been around for about 23 years now. We're going into our 24th year. And at this time in our history as a bookstore, it was important for us to look at that trajectory of independent bookstores as they are placed in a community. And what does that speak to the wellness and well-being of a society? And again, today, when I walked down this Auburn Street and our avenue, I couldn't help but seeing all the spaces and places that are dedicated to literature or books or about history. And everyone, Dr. Fuller, Dr. Smith, we have all talked or they've touched on, and you, I know, are here this evening too, because of the importance of education. Our bookstore, after 22 years, became a cultural center. So a physical place that became a space that was imagined by people. People would come into the place and say, I want to show a film. Yes, we could do that. I want to run a race. We could do that too. Right? Everything was possible. I want to meet my cousin. Yeah, you're going to meet your cousin. If you hang out for about half an hour more, you're going to find your cousin. And so on and so on. Where do I get a job? All those questions take place, as you know, within a bookshop and within that space. And the second thing, too, that the bookstore had to respond to was the issue of gentrification. And right here, I see in your community, you are going through this dynamic process of gentrification. And in Toronto are two economic streets, what I would like to call the streets of Black economics. Eglinton Avenue West is going under gentrification as a new subway expansion is taking place. And where we are located on a street called Bathurst Street, and I know you're going to go home and think, did she say Blackhurst? No, she said Bathurst Street. On a street called Bathurst Street, we are also too going through a gentrification project. And that gentrification expansion takes place on this street called Bathurst Street, which has deep roots within the community. What you're seeing here is the day where our patrons, sometimes people think our community is not on time. We told them show up at 11 and they came at 9:30 because we understand the importance of education and knowledge. So those people showed up at 9:30 to move us across. And so that movement across, because when we talk about money, when we talk about Viola, when we talk about civil rights, we are talking about movement. And if we don't have movement within communities, then people are not inspired to be engaged and to do. Black Lives Matter, all those things are movement. So here's a movement of patrons moving across the road, moving knowledge. That was an awesome, iconic image that was seared into the consciousness of people in Toronto. And it debunked the myths and the stereotypes. Black people don't read. And if you want to have a secret, you put it in a book. So black men don't get that either, right? So this was really important for us. We can go to the next slide, and I'm going to do this. And here, this is a group of sisters all hanging out. And one of the things that we can't escape ever is the politics of Black women's here. And so when Viola Desmond is on the $10 bill, it is exciting for me. She represents many things. And the government could have looked at all the ers in the world: teacher, lawyer, doctor, storyteller. Okay, I put that one in there for the future, for the next bill coming. But they looked at a hairdresser. And it doesn't escape me the importance that someone who would be in the sector of hairdressing and beauty, the thing that we often had to struggle with in our history, is on the $10 bill. I really, really want to applaud all the hairdressers, all those people who work, all those people who make products, all those people who had to be imaginative to make every dollar stretch. So I'm very happy that a hairdresser representing that sector that we're so invested in is on the $10 bill. We can go to the next slide. And then here now is emancipation. Every July the 31st, and this is an extension of the bookstore and culture. And I'm speaking to the choir too now, because I know that you do this right here in Atlanta, and this probably has taken place so many times on this great avenue that we are on. And so we reimagine the Underground Railroad. So every July the 31st, we say to folks, come, and we are going to transform the subway system and make that a movement of the Underground Railroad, where we can recall the Harriet Tubmans, the Violas, the Rosa Fortunes, the Dr. Carrie Bess, all those heroes and sheroes in our history, we can recall them. And so about 1,200 people or so gather at the train station, and we ride the train, and we do that. We start about 11:30, so that when we get to the end of the train line, it is August 1st, and we can welcome in Emancipation Day, and then have the rest of the day to discuss that with the wider society about that positioning of Emancipation Day. You could even get married on the Underground Freedom Train ride. And this is where East Africa here is meeting Jamaica on the train ride. So we're rolling. We can go to the next slide. Am I the last time? Good. Right. And here to reimagine again the importance of education. And every year, again, we take the bookstore and the ideas, because what we sell in terms of books are ideas of overcoming. People are little, but they can be mighty. We celebrate the stories of Anansi, of Burr Rabbit and Coyote. So here we encourage young people in high density areas, students who have the narrative, you're not going to do well. And we say to them, we are going to walk with you symbolically from secondary to post-secondary into the universities to demonstrate student achievement and excellence. Again, a movement of people, all in the tradition of our history. And I think we're coming home now. And this here represents, this is part of Bathurst Street. And right here, what you're looking at is a whole lot of history. This is where the barbershops and the beauty salons, these are the universities of the community. This is where you got to get it right. You got to have an opinion. You got to be a good debater. This is where you hone your craft in these institutions of university. And in that shot too was a woman called Bev Maskull, and I'm going to pop back into that. And Bev Maskull is very much part of that block, just like C.J. Walker. And today I was so excited to stand right in front of that space here. Just like Madam C.J. Walker and like Viola Desmond, she was inspired to get into the beauty sector. Beverly Maskull came from Halifax. So did Viola Desmond. Beverly Maskull looked at Black women struggling to feel better about themselves. So she would drive to Buffalo, buy beauty products, and come back to Toronto. And in her car, like Viola Desmond, go around from hairdresser's shop to hairdresser's shop and sell her beauty products. She became a millionaire. Millionaire. I am in awe of that. But what I appreciate about Beverly Maskull is this. She just did not sit on her hands and hoard her money. She was philanthropic. And she established at Dalhousie University, or she was one of the major donors and people to enable this, the James R. Johnson Chair in Black Studies at Dalhousie University. You better clap that, because we have very few Black chairs in Canada. And so here is a Black woman who walked the talk. I hear you, babe. You go on, girl. Or is it Samantha? But we good to go. We good to go. And so when I look at this street called Bathurst Street, the street that I am on, I can see the place where Deborah Brown, who came through the Underground Railroad in the 1800s, I can see the street where she lived on. I can see where the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters walked. I can see people who had connections with A. Philip Randolph, and who on May 18th, that's my birthday. Did I hear you say that's my birthday? That's my birthday. 1945, signed the first charter and the first contract with the Canadian Pacific Railway, and to become the first Black union in Canada, the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, the Canadian chapter. You gotta clap that too. So here we go. And so again, our connection between the two countries and between cities is so significant.